Well, recently we've seen some more terrorist attacks, not only in the United States, but most recently in London, which is an incredible murder of a military personnel there. Well, our guest this morning is Rassooli. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's an Iraqi-born Islam expert and scholar, speaks Arabic, and he's also the author of the trilogy Lifting the Veil, The True Faces of Muhammad and Islam, volumes 1, 2, and 3. And IQ, are you with us?
I am with you. Thank you.
Thank you. And hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. Thanks for being with us today.
My pleasure.
Your first response to what happened in London, I mean, I don't know if the full gravity of that attack has sunk in, but probably one of the most horrific we've seen.
You're absolutely right. It's the most horrific. And it hasn't sunk in. Because the British people, it will take them a long, long time of provocations before they literally retaliate. When I saw the news, the minute I heard one of the terrorists shout Allahu Akbar, I knew, why he did it. The brutality of the perpetrators, they are Muslims. The two men are originally from Nigeria. But they were brought up in England. They were of Christian background. Who converted to Islam.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, the instant any human being converts to Islam, they turn into psychopaths. I know my statements always sound outrageous, but I've had 480 interviews with America, not one interview in Europe. The reason I don't show my face is that in Europe, no one can speak against Islam and survive. Only in America.
Well, that alone is quite a statement. Let me ask you this. Is the whole Islamic issue really a philosophy hiding behind a religion?
It's not a religion. Islam is not a religion. Their Allah, the God Allah of Islam, is not the same as the God of Jesus, Moses, and Abraham.
Right.
Can I prove it? Of course. Anybody who Googles my name, Rassooli, Alrassooli, just Google my name, spend 1 hour, half an hour of your time. The first 10 audio videos will prove to you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Allah was the name, only the name, of the supreme God of pagan Arabia of 360 gods and goddesses in stone. So, Allah is most definitely not the same as the God of Jesus, Moses, and Abraham. The Quran is full of contradictions. No God could have revealed the Quran to anybody.
How did you come to this knowledge? How did you realize?
Well, I've spent 30 years. I was born in Iraq. My parents were secular people. They sent me to be educated in Europe. And of course, I studied the Quran at home. I mean, in Iraq.
Right.
But in the Quran, there are verses that are supposed to have come from the Bible. So when I started reading the Bible and comparing and contrasting the Bible with the Quran, there was no reference whatsoever. They do not match. Everything in the Quran is a contradiction of what the Bible is. The Bible speaks about love, speaks about peace. Let me tell you something. You will not find one single operative verse in the Quran that shows any compassion and mercy towards unbelievers. Ladies and gentlemen, unbelievers today constitute 80% of humanity, 5.5 billion people, not million, billion people, who are considered by Islam as infidels, unbelievers, kuffar, kafirun. From the point of view of Islam, we unbelievers, Christians, Buddhists, Hindus, Jews, Zoroastrians, atheists, agnostics, anybody who's not a Muslim, have got three choices. One, to convert to Islam whether we like it or not.
Right.
Two, to submit in humiliation and degradation to Islam, Sharia, forever, or free to be slaughtered.
Why is Islam more bent on taking out Christians and Jews than any other group?
In fact, they are not only on Christians and Jews. Islam exterminated 140 million Africans who were pagan. They exterminated 110 million Hindus. They exterminated tens of millions of Buddhists. Islam against every human being who is not a Muslim. Look, the difficulty is this. From the Judeo-Christian point of view, it is very difficult for decent Americans to believe that what is supposed to be a peaceful religion is not peaceful. Ladies and gentlemen, you watch television 24 hours a day. 99% of all acts of terror against unbelievers are committed by Muslims in the name of their God, Allah. I mean, what more do you want?
Well, how come
they declare in public, in 80 languages, in 180 nations, that Islam must dominate the whole of the earth. It's not a hidden agenda.
And those numbers, IQ, are staggering. The obvious question that comes from this all the time is, why then doesn't the so-called moderate Islamists put down the extremists?
The question is excellent. Has anybody had any demonstration by any Muslim group for the last 13 years or 12 years since 9/11 shouting in the street, not in our name? The answer is no. Even in England or in France or in Germany or in Spain, not a single group of Muslims went out in the tens of thousands or even hundreds shouting, not in our name. Why? Muhammad said, silence means consent. This silent majority are consenting to what the so-called radicals are doing. By the way, the word radical cannot be used with Islam. There is no such thing as an extremist Muslim, a radical Muslim. Islam is radical. It has no shades.
Right. It appears that the current administration in the United States, the Obama administration, seems to be Islamic friendly. Would you agree with that?
100%. Before Obama was elected, and those who don't believe me, go to my website, I said he was a Muslim. I proved that he was a Muslim. Proved it, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Why are they supporting Bashar al-Assad? I mean, they're going against Bashar al-Assad. The enemies of Bashar al-Assad, okay, Bashar al-Assad is killing his own people, but all Muslims kill their own people. I come from Iraq. Saddam Hussein was killing hundreds of thousands of my people. Christians, Jews, Muslims, whether Shia or Sunni. This is the methodology of Islam.
Americans still are having a hard time coming to grips with this so-called religion that is getting the freedoms and the protections of any other religion. In fact, to the cost of putting down Christianity in this country. We've seen another terrorist attack in Boston. Now we've seen the one in London. We still don't seem to be waking up to the fact that there is an enemy among us, and we're afraid to talk about it.
Absolutely. And you know what? When you have anthrax thrown at some hundreds of thousands of Americans, when you have a major event even bigger than 9/11, maybe then the American public will wake up. But your administration is totally wrong. They have supported Islam all over the world. Look, Mubarak of Egypt has been a friend of the United States for 30 years.
Right.
Gaddafi had no weapons of mass destruction. Why did America help the French and the British to overthrow them? What do we have now? We have Sharia. Sharia is a nemesis of every freedom known to humanity. Sharia is the nemesis of the American Constitution. Sharia is the nemesis of the freedom of the Americans. Unless you wake up quickly and soon, believe me, you will end up the same garbage as Europe is in.
All right, we're seeing even among different groupings of Islamists that they seem to fight among themselves, Syria's being an example. So how do you explain that to us?
Simple. Everything about Islam is simple the minute you know. 1,500 million Muslims, 85% of them follow the Sunnah tradition. 15% of them follow the Shia tradition, which is Iran, which is Persia. They hate each other. They hated each other for the last 1,400 years. In fact, Islam split up the day Muhammad died. Those who don't want to understand, or those who want to know, read. Go to my website. I reference everything in chapter and verse and page number and book number. I have over $1 million. I repeat, I have over $1 million worth of challenges to every human being on the planet for the last 4 years. I haven't lost a single dime.
Wow. So, forgive me if this seems to be too simple. Maybe we Americans should just back out of those countries and let them fight among themselves.
Yes, but you have the enemy within. What are you going to do?
Within the United States?
Of course.
Yeah, of course, yes, right.
So what are you going to do?
Well,
you already have them within you. Those two terrorists in Boston, they looked American. They were living the American dream. But what did they do? They instantly turned against the American public. They killed innocent Americans, innocent people. Why did they kill them? Why? In the name of Allah. Why? Because that's what the Quran teaches them. What hasn't sunk into the mind of Europeans and Americans is that it is the Quran, and only the Quran, which is the source of all these destructions.
All right, IQ, again, give us your website for those who want to read more what you provide.
www.alrassooli.com. I would love to hear from you. You can always email me at rassooli@gmail.com.
All right, thank you so much. We'll be in touch again.
God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you. Fascinating to say the least, and that's Rassooli. All right, we'll see you next time on Focus Today.